We all know Marathon. That has been delayed indefinitely. As soon as they put the announcement out, then the staff knew. They didn't know until the announcement was out. They posted it on X, and that's when they knew. So they got told. No, they didn't get told. Like, they announced it, and they knew it as soon as we knew it. Not the way to do it. That's stupid. That is dumb. And I think, in my opinion, disrespectful. As far as I've seen through the years, Bungie, that's exactly what they do. So let's take a look.
Well, everyone, the inevitable has just happened. PlayStation and Bungie finally admitted what everybody already knew. Marathon is not ready, and it will not release in 3 months. Even before the plagiarism scandal, even before the alpha test, people doubted the September release date. It just felt wrong. And not just out of reflexive hate. This game had been marred in controversy. Bungie had been marred in controversy for years and years. But now, the companies are facing reality. After endless being concerned, they have admitted that the player's voice was, quote, strong and clear. And the upshot is that Marathon is now indefinitely delayed. Marathon's reveal 2 months ago started a fairly unbelievable string of problems. Now, on the surface, the reveal did look slick. Polished, a new art direction, a very artistically yummy trailer, and yes, a new entry into the extraction gameplay genre. But audiences were immediately divided. Number one, they didn't recognize this new Marathon from the Marathon that they knew from decades ago. This felt like quite the miscalculation, but it's one that was compounded on because Bungie wasn't building this game for existing extraction fans. We'll certainly get on to how they felt soon. Now then came the closed alpha, the purely American alpha with heavily restricted codes, all despite many people wanting in. Pretty odd. Then the players who did get in, well, they found that something was off.
Yeah, the thing is, Vikings, why the hell was it America only? North America. Wasn't North America said? Like, yeah. Why? I mean, what was I mean, that's the only. What about, like, huh? I don't think I've heard about a test that is strictly NA. I just find that weird. Like, as it says here, like 18 and older. Okay. Access to a valid account on a supported platform. That makes sense. Valid Bungie account. Okay. In good standing. It has to be in good standing. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's just already red flag.
Pretty odd. Then the players who did get in, well, they found that something was off. PC players were outraged at mandatory aim assist.
Only going to ruin the PC part of the game. You're just watering down PC. You're making PC and mouse and keyboard players basically feel like shit.
Bungie later removed it. The hero kits were kind of interesting, but they
basically feel like shit.
Bungie.
Who the hell puts aim assist in a PC game with mouse and keyboard? Bungie, like, they have been making games for so long, for over 20 years, and then they do this shit. No, fuck that.
Later removed it. The hero kits were kind of interesting, but they didn't feel balanced and they didn't feel fully developed.
Hero kits in extraction shooter? No, I don't see that as the way, to be honest. No, that is nope. Like, the Delta Force has sort of the same thing, but it's no. Would it built? No. Okay, like, no. Still no.
PvE elements did get some praise, but there were missing genre standards, and they got brutalized for that. No solo mode, no proximity chat. So if you were a
proximity chat, there's no proximity chat. Viking, no proximity chat and extract shooter makes the game worse. Arena Breakout Infinite still doesn't have it. It would be better for it. So much better. Solo mode is coming to the game permanently. But to not have it, no matter what game it is, whatever, like what kind of extract shooter it is, come on. Like, it's just put it in.
A hard Extraction fan, this game was really not trying to woo you over. And that was quite strange. It was a game that didn't look like its IP, entering a genre, but not specifically for players who actually like that genre. Which, you know, would appear to be quite risky. Now, of course, the Bungie strength is bringing things to new audiences, but the closed nature of the testing meant that casual players, masses of casual players, couldn't discover if they liked the game. And then it got worse. Arc Raiders, another extraction shooter long in development, had a closed beta. It went viral.
Yeah.
Why? It's because it had all the features that Marathon didn't, plus a heap of polishing. And then on top of all of that, the plagiarism.
And it had proximity chat. That was the best part. They even added so you could freaking, like, it had echoing, and if the further you were away from the player, like the lower your voice got, if you were inside, you had echo. It was freaking amazing. October, Vikings. October. It's far off, but just think of how fun we can have it. Huh? Sheesh! It's coming.
Hit. An artist accused Bungie of ripping off her designs. Bungie reviewed the claim. They admitted that it was true, that specific assets were in fact stolen. They promised to make it right with that artist. They blamed somebody who had left during pre-production, but with the broad years-long narrative going against the studio,
they blamed. I like, we've talked about it, but the thing is, they blamed. They blamed somebody that was in the pre-production, but I mean, somebody like said, okay, this is good, let's put it in the game. Like, it goes through stages. There's not only one person who said, oh, make something and then puts it in the game. Like, it has to go through like many stages before it's accepted and put into the game. And that is on the director of the game. Or at least the staff.
Especially the studio's leadership and the specific narrative around Marathon going very bad very fast. It was quite brutal. The art director, Joe Cross, really did become public enemy #1 for many people. And that meant that when he went onto this stream, it was a very awkward situation. The plan had been to show gameplay and discuss Marathon, but, well, they had to do a review of all of their assets. And with this drama happening, they basically couldn't show any gameplay. That just led to a very awkward, very painful looking stream. One where Bungie staff couldn't say anything about Marathon's development or how they would fix this newest problem, let alone the various other problems. And all of this in a world where Marathon was supposed to launch in September, just months away, which was never going to happen. Nobody in the public by that stage expected that it would hit its release date, and now the inevitable has thankfully finally happened. Now that we've got the lightning summary of how we got here, let's talk about the delay. So yes, it's delayed. Bungie gave no new release date, and in this Bungie.net update, they said they won't even talk publicly until later this fall. So it essentially seems that the old release date is in fact going to be the release date of a potential release date, or perhaps the release date of a potential release window, pending, you know, changes and stuff. And it's all—
yeah, they have to remake the whole thing. They can't use this art style. I think, like, people are gonna notice. Like, they just can't, to me. I think they have to change it. And at least change it to the art style that the original has. That's #1. Why the hell don't you do that? But this thing? No. No.
Also, when we're going to get a progress update. And as for the progress that's going on, they outlined changes for 3 core areas that are all designed to address alpha criticisms. First, upping the survival game, so they're making the PvE and PvP more challenging and more rewarding. Second, doubling down on the Marathon universe. Per reports, a 4th map that already was planned and going to be a thing would have been set on the actual Marathon, the actual ship, and the PvE part of it would have essentially been a Destiny raid tier puzzle thing. So while it does seem they always had big, cool stuff like that planned, their framing here focuses more on narrative fidelity, more narrative interaction. They promise a darker tone that delivers on the themes of the original trilogy. And if you want to know what that means, I'd highly recommend the Mandalore gaming videos. Third, then, addressing genre complaints. So proximity chat is coming, so are solo and duo options. Of course, though, all this lacks detail, which to some will inspire confidence, but I actually do think it's fair. I think they haven't defined all of those details yet, because they evidently have a lot of work to do. Now, Bungie said there will be more closed testing, the alpha participants will return, and I believe they're already sending out more codes now. So, it's a simple and obvious plan.
Well, we'll see.
New features, get feedback, then update accordingly, and all on a not particularly firm public timeline. Here's the core truth, though. Most of this game will not change, right? It's too big. Too much work is already done. Pre-designed characters aren't going anywhere. Neither is the presumed monetization model.
No. They have to change it. They can't release it in this state. With this, no. I think I think they would do better if they changed the whole thing. But I don't think Sony will invest more money into something like this. Just look at Concord, huh? They invested $200 million. Before they bought it, the developer already invested $200 million. And after they invested so much, Sony thought, okay, this will be one hell of a game. Let's invest some more. Sony owns Bungie. When it comes to live service games, Sony has cancelled every new modern live service game that they had planned. By now, I think they would have released 2 or 3. But they cancelled them all. Stick to single player games. I mean, they do that flawlessly. Usually no problems. Story is good. I think that's one thing things they do pretty well. So yeah! Come on! Sony, step up! Bungie, stop doing what you're doing!
Hope. Well, the hope is that if they can meet the feature demands from the more engaged genre fans, then they'll actually get a bunch of features, like, say, solos, that a lot of people would like anyway, and that if they improve all of the other things, then perhaps everything else will fall into place. So, Bungie's developers are going to have a lot of work to do. They're thankfully going to get many more months to do that work than planned. But here's an interesting detail. According to Paul Tassi's sources, Bungie's staff found out about the delay at the same time that we did. Why keep it secret? Well, presumably I would say to avoid more leaks, because the one thing that's been a total disaster around this is their public narrative. But here's the thing, even us on the outside who have been paying attention to this closely have very much seen for weeks now that someone at PlayStation had already decided. The reason why is fairly simple. We saw their investor presentation. One thing is crystal clear. PlayStation is taking Marathon very, very seriously. It filled multiple slides in their recent investor presentation and their fireside chat. They framed Marathon repeatedly as core to next fiscal year plans. That means any point between May 2025 and April 2026.
Yeah! Fucking look! This is what they have planned. This is their live service games. Just show Destiny 2, Helldivers 2. Horizon, the multiplayer thing was supposed to be in here. Then you have the Last of Us multiplayer game. And then there's another game that should be in here, and then another game. Yeah, like from London Studios. I think they were making a live service game. Yeah, Bed Studios, the ones that made Days Gone. They were making a live service game, but that got cancelled too. So now these are all they have after all the hyping up. They got one each year. That's like, I don't. Yeah, it's not working out.
That means any point between May 2025 and April 2026. So I guess that's your very, very big launch window. And they positioned it as developing IP, right alongside the Ghost series and Astrobot. They also call out strong early engagement for Bungie's bold and innovative new title, which is a bloody hilarious statement given all the shit that's happened. But do you notice what they never said? They never said that it launches in September. Bear in mind, this was all weeks before the actual delay would be publicly announced. And I think this all suggests something important here. When they put this together for investors, when, say, studio CEO Herman Hulst made his comments, the decision had already been made further up the chain. The evidence? Well, live services and Marathon came up as a standalone question in their pre-recorded chat. And I think it's fair to say that's a chat that is haunted by the ghost of Concord. That's because Hulst framed Concord as, quote, good work and big effort, but also insufficiently differentiated. Which, doesn't sound amazing. But most importantly, he said this: we have reviewed our processes in the light of this, to deeply understand why the title failed to meet expectations, to ensure we're not going to make the same mistakes again. Now, what are those new processes? Well, we can actually see those in Bungie's delay statement. Hulst told investors that PlayStation was excited for release. He described the alpha response in very specific terms. We're monitoring the closed alpha cycle the team just gone through, and some of that feedback has been varied, but that's super useful. That's why you do testing. You know what, Herman?
Okay.
Varied is true. It's charitable, but yeah, it's a true way to characterize things. But really what he's doing when he says that is he's selling investors on them making business progress. That as an overall system, Sony are no longer going to do Concords because their systems, the way they run their business, will no longer produce that sort of result. So this tracks. The player engagement idea also resonates here. He talks as well about the validation of assumptions from developers, about test, iterate, test again. And if that sounds familiar, well, that's exactly how Bungie are introducing updates, testing features as they're ready. And throughout the presentation, which we'll dive into more later because, it's a very interesting one.
Wow.
One theme keeps on emerging, and that's PlayStation leadership being more involved in game release decisions and more involved in development reviews. Why? Well, it's fucking obvious, because they won't let studios take risks like Concord did.
Yeah, like it amazes me that Sony hasn't done this before. Like, if you want to release a game, at least have some idea what the hell is going on behind, like, closed doors. Just look at what EA did with Anthem. They just, no. BioWare. Do what you do. And make it awesome. That didn't work out, and they did like follow through with some gameplay, and it didn't fucking work until like 6 months or 8 months before the release came. No, just give us Anthem 2.
We recently praised Helldivers for good live service design over monetization.
Yes.
Basically, they kind of got FOMO right by making a live service feel live in a way that made sense for the video game bit, not just the business bit. And it seems that video really resonated with you guys. Holy shit, it exploded. Here's the flip side then. In this presentation, we learned that 54% of Helldivers' revenue comes from microtransactions, from the 3.6 million monthly...
Yeah, because it's done right! You know? It's like they... It was done right. How they do it. I mean, it's just... It's not shoved into your face. It's there. you can earn like in-game money. Of course, like most people are gonna buy it. It's decently priced. You can buy them separately, like the things you can, like the outfits, you can buy them separately. They have like a separate store apart from the battle pass, which also Arc Raiders is gonna use. I sort of like it. So why aren't more people, like more games using this system? Like, just appreciate players' time. That's key. Appreciate their time. Don't force anything on the player. Let them enjoy the game. Don't put like fucking XP like limits. No. Weekly limits. I mean, it's just. I get why they do it. So people can come in, play it. Okay, wait for a week, come in and play it. But that system needs to go, in my opinion. Like, just, it needs to be standard that people are buying. Some of these games cost money. And there's when I think, like, okay. Appreciate their time. They bought the battle pass. Let them enjoy the battle pass. Okay, if they didn't buy a thing, okay, let's have weekly limits on the game, on XP. That's fine. But if they pay for seasonal content, don't put any limits. They paid you. If they didn't pay, I get it. But if they paid, come on.
Players. That success, their first non-MLB live service, basically made PlayStation adamant that they can do it again, that they need to do it again. Investors obviously love the potential here, and that's why, quote, they remain very committed to building a diverse and resilient live service portfolio. Of course, it is diverse at the minute. It's just
diverse my
in
ass.
terms of one is alive, one is dead, some are successful, others are killed in the cradle. Which is not exactly the type of diverse they're really aiming for. The point, though, is very clear. That Helldivers shows, and again I quote, the level of success we achieve if we get everything right. That's obviously what they're shooting for.
Arc Raiders will be the
they're
same.
doing everything that they can to get it right, because Marathon is their immediate future. There is the other game, Fair Games, that is still listed as upcoming, and that's especially relevant after Jade Raymond left Haven Studio, apparently after poor internal testing. So I suppose they'll be doing more.
Not the only one. The first one was that what's her name? Like, she was from Ubisoft. And then I think she quit. Yeah, fuck, it is Jade Raymond. I think that's her name. I think that's her. Yeah, she left the game.
Iteration of that one as well. But overall, the live services will continue. Whether that's from partners like Arc System Works or doing a Marvel game, or internal teams like Bungie. Because basically,
yeah, it looks kind of fire.
Concord was a big failure. There's simply too much potential for another Helldivers in their view. So here's why, to them, Marathon won't be another Concord. Let's compare. Concord was revealed, it had poor reactions, poor beta response, then it was released anyway, and obviously it completely crashed and burned. Marathon then is not Concord. It's literally playing out in a different way. Sony are taking different actions. And we do know that significant audience interest exists. Not all of it is good, but at least that region-locked alpha did appear to have a lot of people wanting keys. The thing, though, is, for you and me as enthusiasts, Bungie's name isn't really what it used to be. But at least how Sony will see this is that a new Bungie game will probably attract sales regardless, even if it's just from the promise of a new game from the makers of Halo and Destiny. Now, again, as enthusiasts, those things may not mean that much to us. And we, having followed all the drama, will be very skeptical. They know that they're PlayStation. They're absolutely mass market, and something like this could go big. And because they've realized what they actually can do, ensure no crazy launch failure surprise. It's not that Marathon can't be Concord. If it was going to release in September, it very much could have been. It's far more that, with a delay like this, PlayStation won't let Marathon be a Concord. 2 failures like that in a row,
Yeah, I hope
especially
so.
with Fair Games looking a little bit rocky.
I hope they learn from
obviously
it.
that
Come on.
would kill confidence. They need to show to everyone that they will not let it be a Concord because they have learned. The only question is whether Bungie will deliver, or perhaps in a deeper sense, if Bungie even can deliver, given how much of a hard time that studio has had to endure. And if it does fail, I have one prediction. I predict that Herman Hulst will not say that powerful people are out to get him and are paying for negative reviews. That may seem like a random prediction, but it is in fact based on what you'll learn in this video next.
Yeah, like the Mindside developer, like the director, what the hell? Yeah, but either way, Anthem? No, okay. Marathon is delayed indefinitely. I think they should change the whole art style. That may be too late and it may cost a little more money, but they need, like, yeah, they need to do a big ass shift.